challenging aspects of working at the distillery is obviously the printmaking. So running the Heidelberg Plattens is a really fun process, but being an old machine, when something goes wrong, there's no sort of control P option. You have to work it out yourself. The machine that I like to use the most is named Wolfgang. It was made in 1960. So being that old, it's all original, and getting things like your ink to be the right consistency, you have to learn to put the right amount on with a spatula, and keeping the print consistent over a run of maybe 1,000 can take time. So it's a lot of problem solving, but when you get a nice result at the end, it's a really good feeling. So definitely the printmaking aspect. The mood of the distillery is always very positive and upbeat. We're a fairly young studio. We've only been around for almost 3 years in a few weeks. So we're pretty young. Yeah, thank you. And most of the staff here, everyone's sort of 30 and under almost. So we're really young, and I think that's a positive vibe. And it's definitely inspirational. Everyone who works here has some kind of design or fine art background. Even the consultants who don't necessarily do a lot of design still have a design background. So it's really great when sort of dealing with clients, because the consultants and everyone sort of are all on the same page. Most people who work here start as an intern, and all of our interns obviously come from sort of design backgrounds too. So whether you're a printmaker or a designer or a consultant, everyone is very creative and everyone can bounce off ideas, and there's so much talent. So it's really nice to work with people who you can be inspired by. So I started maybe almost a year and a half ago now as an intern. I studied a Bachelor of Design at the College of the Fine Arts.
COFA?
Yeah, COFA. So I majored in graphic design and object design. So I liked object because it was sort of hands-on activities and sort of making things. And then so coming here, being able to use my hands all day and run a sort of 1960s cast iron press is really, really fun. And then do a little bit of design on the side, but it's nice to not have to sit in front of a screen all day. It's something that I cherish. It's inevitable, it's going to happen one day, but for the moment, yeah, I love it. The Strawberry Side director, Nathan, started about 3 years ago. And he had another business, he still has another business, sort of the e-book printing business. So print was always in the back of his mind, and Nathan has a real love for sort of heritage soul and sort of modern mind. That's sort of a saying that we have at the studio. So he loved the tactility of the print and sort of the old style of letterpress, and so he just thought, let's do it. So he bought an old press and had it in his parents' garage, and he hired this old guy, I think his name was Neil, an old printmaker, an old technician, and he came over and he taught Nathan over a period of weeks in his parents' garage to print. So Nathan learned from sort of, like everyone in the industry knows this guy Neil. He's probably getting on to about 80 years old, and he sort of passed on all his skills to Nathan, and then Nathan sort of found a love for it himself, and bought the press, and then it started in North Sydney, and there was a small one press studio in North Sydney for maybe about a year and a half, and then letterpress became more popular in Australia, and people started loving it, and so we grew, and then we were lucky enough to move to Darlinghurst, and now we have 3 Plattens, 1 cylinder press, and 2 proofing presses. So
awesome.
Yeah, I've only been here for a year and a half, but in that time, everything has grown in a huge amount. We not only have more press, but we're getting more staff. We're doing more and more design and branding rather than just printmaking. So people start to know the studio for more than just a letterpress studio. We're actually a design studio as well, which is great. So getting a lot of sort of higher profile clients, and then we can also do printmaking for them as well. So everything's sort of up and up. It's always changing. So I'm sure next year we'll probably be saying the same thing and different things are happening. I think it's all about having a positive attitude. In places like this where it's really hands-on, you've just got to give it your best shot and be prepared to maybe do the task 30 times, even though it's a little bit boring. So here, printmaking is the main thing, but then after it's printed, you need to cut the job down on the guillotine, which takes time for big jobs, and then you need to quality control everything. So you might print 1,000 business cards, but someone sort of look through them to make sure they're all nice. We produce like a pretty high-end sort of paper product and stationery here, and people might spend a lot of money on their wedding stationery, and if there's a few duds in there, which is the nature of the machine and the sort of process, people sort of get disheartened about it. So I think you need to be prepared to stick it out and do jobs that might be a little bit boring, to sort of learn, and just sort of open to learning, really. I think everyone, no matter who you're working with, can always teach you something. So even if it's not about the job, I think you learn a lot just being around positive people. So we have a lot of people that walk in, so thankfully that we have the glass front and a lot of people walk in. So when they come in, being on the floor, sort of a lot of the time we'll greet clients and say hello, and sometimes get the ball rolling with what they want, and then if it's out of my hand in terms of quoting, the consultants can come down and help. So I deal with them that way, and then also a lot of clients like to come in and do a press watch. So if they're not familiar with letterpress or the Heidelbergs, they can come in and see their job being printed. So there's a lot of talk about that, and educating the clients on how it works. I think it's great when they can be educated, because not everyone knows sort of how much detail goes into it, and there's so much setup involved within making the plate and hand mixing the ink and cutting the paper down. Several processes before you can actually see a print. So it's nice to be able to sort of talk and educate the clients, and people are really amazed when they work out all the stuff that goes into it, and they can appreciate it more, I think. I think certain areas of print probably are dying, but it's nice that we can still survive and print things. People always need printing in some way, whether it's wedding stationery or business cards, but I think it's more interesting for people to have something that's tactile. People are liking this sort of renaissance of the hands-on vibe at the moment, whether it be listening to vinyl records or going to farmers markets and locally produced food. It's all sort of, people are enjoying whilst everything's booming. They also like to just take a step back. So I think being involved with a hands-on process, I think, is what is keeping sort of it booming and keeping the interest, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, excellent. Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, that's
good.
it, man. Yeah.
Easy.
Thank you
No
so
worries.
much.
My pleasure.
Yeah.